motion.
Well, we have a couple of comments that James wanted to speak and Pete wanted to speak.
Okay, James.
Well, I know that Mr. England, he said a lot of the things that have been in my head, and I'm glad he showed up because he said them a lot better than I did. But he mentioned that this is a solution in search of a problem, and I'm just curious. I don't get any calls or emails about having a problem with smoking at public parks or at the zoo or in any of the other places. So I was just curious if anybody else does get those problems. I know that one problem was addressed here around the Dell campus. But,
Okay.
To me, it doesn't seem too much like a big problem, and I certainly agree with that the effects of secondhand smoke outside is quite a bit overblown, and the fact that and I think that having that discussion amongst ourselves either today or next at our next meeting is certainly appropriate to have of whether or not that is a legitimate health concern. So those are basically my comments. So,
all right, Pete.
Well, the first thing I did, if anybody remembers the history of this started a couple of years ago when we tried to reduce the amount of smoking, and it really arose as a result of a public health matter. That is, from my perspective, when I realized the impact of smoking on our own, as the city is self-insured, when I realized the impact of smoking on a self-insured health insurance program, I realized that all of the people, including myself, that have city health insurance are paying for people to smoke, and that is damaging to me. That is a damage that occurs to me, and it occurs to lots of other people. We deal with the increase in premium costs annually, every year, about what that is, and that's really where it was generated in my. And I've come to believe that there are 3 reasons that people quit smoking, and I'm not sure the tax is even the number 1 reason. It's helped. When you charge an 18-year-old kid $5 for a pack of cigarettes, it's a lot harder than it was when cigarettes were 80 cents a pack. So, I mean, that's going to make a difference. I really believe that the number 1 reason people are quitting smoking is not the tax. I believe it's the denormalizing of smoking. The fact that no longer do you see in every movie do you see every character smoking a cigarette. It's the fact that you can't smoke in restaurants. In fact, I think that probably because that's why I quit. I recall the day I decided to quit. I was appeared before one of the judges on a very contested motion docket, and as soon as I got out, I took a cigarette out of my pack and put it in my mouth and rode the elevator down from the 7th floor to the 1st floor without lighting it, and walked outside and thought, this is really stupid. I've had this cigarette in my mouth now all this time. And so on the way home that night, I heard a radio commercial for Norman Regional Hospital having a class on quitting smoking. I went to class and learned how to quit smoking, and it was successful. But I realized that everybody doesn't think that way. But for me, it was that denormalization part. It was the fact that it made me feel like a second-class citizen that really changed my attitude about it. And I think one of I don't want to hide behind a log on this thing. I think that's part of the idea. I've had 2 complaints about smoking recently. One of them was represented by a gentleman that was here today who complained about the smoking at the Dell Center. The other one was from a constituent who regularly takes their child to a spray ground in a park, and how she described it to me was, they have this concrete spray ground and that's paved, and there's a little paved area around it, and then there's another area about 2 foot wide where people sit their lawn chairs, and it's paved with cigarette butts. And she didn't like that, and I don't like that. I visited a couple of spray parks, and sure enough, I found a lot of cigarette butts just right around those spray grounds that we were so proud of putting in a few years ago. But we would have banned smoking in parks a long time ago had the legislature not preempted our ability to do it. They changed that preemption just about the time we got ours passed. And my regret is it's taken a couple of years to get it back on the table. This goes further, though. I want everybody to be clear. This doesn't just doesn't include everything except golf courses, and I'll get to that in a second. But if you close a street now for a street festival, smoking can be prohibited. If the person wants it to be prohibited, they can ask. And these family-oriented street festivals, you can close the smoking. The reason the golf courses aren't included is, frankly, I know I wear this analogy out, but to me, passing legislation or ordinances is kind of like eating a foot-long hot dog. You approach the problem one bite at a time. And this is a bite I can take today. And I urge all of you to, as we go forward, to look at it that way. This is a bite that I can take today. If golf courses become important, or sealed cars, I'm not sure that sealed cars would not be outside our legislative ability to do that. And in most of these countries where they're banning it, they obviously don't have high-dollar lobbyists representing tobacco companies, or they wouldn't be doing it.
Actually, I think on city streets you could. And the municipal councilor's office is looking into it.
Maybe. Here's what I think. You might be able to, but what we'd be doing is just inviting another legislative preemption, another fight with the legislature. And as prone as I am to want to pick every fight I possibly can with the legislature, that's not one I'm ready to pick right now. So,
You said that one of the intents of this is to further denormalize smoking. I mean, what is the point of where it's denormalized enough? Because right now, I mean, it's clearly denormalized. I mean, it isn't a, I mean, I think the studies say that about 19% of people are smokers. So, I mean, it's a...
All I can tell you is my own personal example. I tried to quit smoking. The money didn't ever matter to me. What mattered to me was when I felt that I looked like an idiot.
Right.
And so everybody gets motivated by whatever motivates, whatever makes you work. But that's how it worked for me. That's why I'm such an advocate for this method, because that's worked for me. But it's like a lot of things. You know, I made the comment earlier about bikers wearing helmets. You know, I don't care if they don't wear helmets and bash their brains against a curb. What I mind is paying for it. And I feel the same way about cigarettes. I don't mind people smoking, but I don't want to pay for it. They want to do that. I don't want them bothering my grandchild or my great-grandson that I took to the great train show this weekend. I don't want cigarettes bothering him.
I mean, but isn't that something that insurance companies should deal with more so than local governments?
Well, insurance companies deal with it. They just raise the rate.
Well, yeah, but I mean, dealing with it and making two different plans for a smoker and a non-smoker.
There's no, unless we do things like this, there's really no incentive for them to do that. They'll just put one rate on one person and go right on. And it won't ultimately change because a lot of people aren't insured. You know, Oklahoma in its wisdom is choosing to leave hundreds of thousands of people uninsured because we don't want to take the federal money for that. Of course, we're all jumping up and down taking the federal money for highways, but we won't want to take the money for that. So I just think I think our problem in that regard is just a legislative problem. But I want to do what I can do today, and if we want to try other add-ons to it, let's try. I'll be for them. But I know this will happen. I just can look around this horseshoe, and I can tell you this will work today.
Why don't you make a motion to send this to December?
You think I've talked long enough? You think I've maxed out? I move to close the hearing and move it to the next stage.
All right, December 22nd is our next. We have a second. Cast your votes. Okay, so the final vote will be on December 22nd. Thanks to everyone who came down to speak on that meeting. All right, we're in comments from council. So James, do you have anything? Ed, Larry?
Real quick, Jim, I'd like you to pass on to Chief City my appreciation for the work that he and the rest of the police department did in cooperating with John Wetzel and the sheriff's people and some triad members. putting on the party at First Presbyterian Church last Saturday, grandparents raising grandkids. Those grandparents were praised for being real heroes, and the kids had a ball just seeing Santa Claus. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. David?
Just thank you to the retired firefighters for inviting Councilman Pettis, myself, you, Councilman White, Councilman McAtee to their dinner last night. It's one of my favorite events that I get to go to each year. Thank you.
Meg?
And Jim, I just want you to express my thanks as well to Chief City and Deputy Chief Jester. Spoke at the Heritage Hills annual meeting last week and did a fantastic job. Neighbors were really pleased at the information he provided.
All right. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to give a sermon today, but Pastor White took all my time, so no sermon from me today. But next meeting, I will definitely have a sermon.
Look forward to that. All right, Mark?
I did want to say congratulations to you on the Golden Door Film Festival Award on your documentary from New Jersey. We're all quite proud of you on that, and what a great accomplishment.
Thank you. All right, city manager reports.
Did you pass, Councilman White?
I did. He took his mic off, and I took that to indicate that he was through talking.
I complimented you before, during the break, about your patience in dealing with a day like today, and I figured that's just one more manifestation of your dealing with your patience. It didn't bother me at all.
One of the great things going on with the renaissance of downtown is Downtown in December, and Jane Jenkins is here today to talk to us about that a little bit. And it's amazing to me of how this has grown over the last couple of years and what a destination it's turned into. And if you can't find something that's in Downtown December, you're not trying very hard.
Thank you, Mr. Couch and Mayor and members of the City Council. We're here to offer you something completely different to kind of wrap up your meeting. Presentation about fun and fellowship and joy experienced by children and families in December. I usually make this presentation to you every year, but this year I asked Jill Delosier, who is our Director of Marketing and Community Relations, who is the real architect of Downtown in December, to be here and to present to you all the things that are going to happen and have already happened in relation to this event. So, Jill?
Hi there. I will be brief. I will breeze through this as quickly as possible. Most of you are already familiar with Downtown in December. It's a series of holiday events that happen right around the core of downtown Oklahoma City. And this year's the biggest one we've ever had. And we have more than 28 holiday events happening around the city. And the Devon Ice Rink is open again at Myriad Gardens, and it is open 7 days a week. They also brought back Saturdays with Santa, and it is happening the next it has already happened one Saturday, and it will be the next 2 Saturdays as well, right inside the rotunda there. Tons of kids' activities, of course, and Santa. And across the street at Myriad Gardens, they are doing a lot of programming there as well, and you can ride a train back and forth and explore both areas. The Sandridge Santa Run is a 5K race and a 1-mile fun run and a kids dash. That is this Saturday at Leadership Square, so that's super exciting. And this year it will raise money not only for our organization, but a portion of the proceeds will go to the Oklahoma Messages Project, which Stacy talked about earlier this morning. We brought back the free holiday water taxi rides, and it is Thursday through Sunday evenings from Thanksgiving until Christmas Eve, and we've already had thousands and thousands of riders this year, so we're excited to have that back again. Sonic Segway Santa is an old favorite, and it's basically Santa driving around downtown on a Segway, and he hands out books to kids and candy and Sonic coupons. The lights on Broadway and Automobile Alley are a great tradition for that district, and it's a little bit different every year. The different buildings get lit, and so it's something interesting that you can look forward to every year. The Snow Tubing Winter Festival is at the ballpark again this year, but the Dodgers have kind of upped their game on this, and they have a lot of new decorations inside and live music and other activities going on. So it's really beautiful in there, and they will have Santa visits on Sunday as well. And winter shops at Myriad Gardens are going on every single weekend, again, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And those are the blue chalets that you see out there on the plaza by the Crystal Bridge. And they have the carousel for $1 rides. And we are actually running a shuttle every Saturday between the winter shops and the Snow Tubing Winter Festival and the River Sport Adventures, which I will talk about next. And River Sport Adventures has been going on for a couple of years down at the Boathouse District, but this year they have moved some of those activities up into Lower Bricktown by the Land Run Monument. So it's a little bit more accessible if you're kind of attending different events and you just want to walk over there. And you can do a rock climbing wall and a zip line for kids, and super fun. And it's just right down there, like kind of in the south end of the Bass Pro parking lot by the monument. Glitter Ball is presented by Dunlap Cotting, and this is also a fundraiser, and it is benefiting Dead Center and Sunbeam Family Services and the Oklahoma City Girls Art School this year. It's basically just a holiday party, but it's really fun, lots of live music, and those tickets are on sale, and that's happening this Saturday evening. Lyrics, A Christmas Carol, is happening in the Plaza District, so you can buy tickets to that, and it is ongoing throughout the whole season, so it still has 3 more weeks of performances. More shopping opportunities at the holiday pop-up shops in Midtown. Those are the domes. There are lots of places to shop downtown at the holidays, but the pop-up shops at Myriad Gardens and here in Midtown are always interesting. We also hosted Deluxe Winter Market on Thanksgiving weekend inside Leadership Square. And Myriad Gardens, like I mentioned before, they have a ton of programming going on throughout the season. So much, some of them have even sold out already. I know the Gingerbread House Workshop this past weekend was really popular. And the Nutcracker, the Christmas Show, Canterbury Christmas, Reduction Theater has things going on. Of course, opening night on New Year's Eve is happening downtown. And it will be at Bicentennial Park this year, which is very exciting, just like last year. And all of these are part of Downtown in December. Everything's listed on the website, even some things that I didn't get a chance to mention today, and a couple of events that have already happened, like the Dog Day in December party that we had at Midtown Mutts that was raising money this week. So thank you guys so much for your time on your busy day. And that's the website, downtowninDecember.com, for all the details.
So thank you. It's all good. We appreciate it very much. And my kind of anecdotal experience is that it seems like attendance is up. I'm seeing more people at the ballpark. I'm seeing more people on the skating rink. And I'm hoping our Saturdays and our free opportunities to visit with Santa just get better and better. And we need more weather like this week. Yeah.
We had 400 people at the Dog Day in December party last Friday night, which was at the Midtown West Dog Park. Our first ever Christmas party for dogs.
All right. Thank you. We have executive session. We'll be back.